Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited. Unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent, all other rights reserved.
Marketing strategies, okay? And the idea is to affirm or to understand where can we market and make decision, like the decision of should I go online, should I go to this magazine, should I go to... So to understand marketing, so what is the role of marketing?
It's to get your brand out there.
Okay, so get your brand out there. So the 3 steps are we should have a message or a brand.
I would say marketing is to present an offer.
But yeah, to present an offer. So if I have a brand, the brand, we define brand as a promise. That's right. This is a promise.
Yeah.
Marketing is a communication of the offer. That's right.
Well, I wouldn't call it a communication of a promise, though.
Or communication.
It's communication of an offer, not of a promise.
But the promise is what drives the offer. So when you promise your customers to do, to get better accounting or better bookkeeping or better health or better whatever, this is your promise. So marketing activity is supposed to communicate what this promise will. And sales is supposed to be what? Sales is supposed to be a monetization of the promise. That's right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree on these 3 classes of?
Sure.
So when you plan an offer, you are crafting the promise to be an offer. When you plan a workshop, what you promise in the workshop. So it's still a promise. When you plan a seminar, when you plan download, when you plan whatever, and marketing is the communication.
Right.
So when we go back and understand what could be the marketing strategies, we have to understand what are the levels of people who can come across. So we before described, we have general public, we have audience for this kind of business or service. We have targeted audience who are interested in particularly in our services. We have prospects, we have leads, we have prospects, then we have clients, we have customers who are paying, then we have return customers, referral customers, and retired customers. These are the 10 classes of, or this model of 10 classes of different individuals we deal with. So who wants to learn about my promise in this category? Usually people are in this area, or people are in this area. So the ones who wants to learn about my promise are people who I never know, I never met before, or people who are in my marketing already, and they are buying product and I wanna get the product into them. So one of the questions it's always on the table is, do I really communicate my new offers to my current customers?
I do.
Is it wise to communicate to my current customers before they pay you, before you upsell them?
I will send out an email with all the events that are going on to everybody on the list.
I understand. The question will be is, will this be distracting for them to continue buying? So
I did have feedback that some of them only want new material, not old material.
Yep. So what I wanna discuss here is when I have this structure in this way, I have to be careful about this area
Right. To turn them off.
because this can turn them off, and particularly if I have a long-term engagement. So if I sell a product which will engage people for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and they will pay me based on performance, not on a regular payment, it may cause a confusion here.
Yes. I can see
So when we talk about customers, how our customers are paying us? For some of our customers are paying us one-time fee. Some of them are paying us monthly or periodically.
that. Right.
Some of them are paying for performance, which basically I will give them the first course, it will lead to the second course, it will lead to the third course.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if they pay you one payment or 2 payment or 3 payment only, like somebody say, you know, I will do like a payment 50% down and then 50% at the end, it doesn't matter. It's still one payment deal.
Yeah.
If they do monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever, this will be periodical. The performance ones is the one you have to be careful, because if I am selling you, let's call it 3 workshops,
They may take one and then not continue.
because of what? Because I send them a marketing of a different offer.
Aha. That's where the confusion comes in. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if I sell workshop 1 and then I go to sell the audience of workshop 1, workshop 2, I cannot sell them alternative material.
No, you have to sell them the material that they're familiar with.
You have to sell them only. So I cannot tell them I'm doing like, if I, for example, I will do like Reiki 1, 2, 3, and people Reiki 1, I cannot tell them I am selling you a healing touch.
No.
I have to sell them only healing Reiki 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's right. If I'm announcing a healing touch, or I'm announcing past life regressions or any other practice or any other modality, what I'm doing now, I'm confusing them. I am giving them more than one option to convert. Make sense?
Yep.
So we have to be careful of these marketing people. Now, the question is, what is the strategy of marketing, or what is the strategy of communication? So where do we communicate? We communicate on pay-per-pays. The first one is word of mouth.
Yeah.
This is the best one.
Yeah.
Now, word of mouth in this model will come here. Okay? What do you need for a word of mouth approach? We call it the 3T model. You need to tell them, you need to give them tools, you need to give them treat. This is the 3T model. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, can I tell you, can you invite individuals to my workshop? What should I give you? I should give you an invitation to my workshop.
Mm-hmm.
An invitation can be paper, can be website, can be email, can be my business card, can be whatever.
Right.
However, I must have tools. And I must have treat for people who will refer. So we say if 10 people will refer, like for example, if you have a session of 10 people and say whoever hosting the session, they will have free reading. Means what? You give them a treat.
Give them a treat.
Now, what tools did you give them to set up the session? Usually you give them flyers or a website.
Information packet or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's right?
Yeah.
And you tell them what to say.
Yes.
So quite often we wait in our workshops and say, you know what, guys, if you really enjoy what you have here, spread the word around. And this is wrong. Because they will not spread the word you
Until
wanna them to spread. They will spread out their experience. So if you want to tell them spread the word around, and say, you have to say, and say, I attended this workshop who helps me out with 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So you usually should frame what people tell. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So we usually shy of saying we don't want to tell people what to say. Make sense?
We do. We shy away from that.
And we shouldn't. One way for the word of mouth to be is during the workshop you say, if you like it, would you mind sharing it on your social media? And add this link to it. Is there any other thoughts will come to your mind about word of mouth?
Well, friends, family, co-workers.
But the way to do it? So word of mouth, you must have, yeah, can be friend, family, whatever, but you must tell them what to say. You must tell them the treat. You should give them the tool and the treat. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the other approach for marketing? These are the classical approaches, which is paper or flyers. This is a classical approach. So why do I need to keep the classical approach?
Well, for those people that you aren't able to give word of mouth to, like on Monday nights, if I'm busy talking with someone else, the flyers are there that people can pick up if I can't be there to.
But you always remember, if you have the flyers there, the flyer is the tool.
Is the tool.
So you have to tell them to pick it up.
Yes.
And you have to give them treat to pick it up.
Yes.
So usually when you have the flyers, some people will make candy or chocolate or so. Say, you can grab a flyer and pick up a pen or giveaways. So you give them a treat for them picking the flyer. Some people do that.
Yeah.
You
Well,
may not
They
need
get
to
a
do.
free healing.
Yeah, I understand. So you may not.
Yeah.
You may not in this business. So what is the so paper? You have the flyers.
Yep.
There is also magazines, and there is also billboard. So why do I need magazines and billboard, or newsletter, or newsletter? Why do I need any of these?
Well, if people have something tangible to hold on to, it stays fresher in their mind.
The question to you is, will you prefer to have a magazine advertisement, or will you prefer to have Facebook advertisement?
I prefer, it doesn't matter for me. I like all advertisement, whatever I can
Yeah,
get
but
my
which
own
one you should decide?
I think that the magazine, there's a lot of people pulling away from Facebook and moving into Instagram and other social media stuff, and so like having a magazine ad would catch those that are interested in a different venue, like so we've got the holistic people here. This is a holistic magazine. We've got the academics here.
So
this is an academic magazine.
I want to bring it from the other side. I want to bring it from the other side.
Specifics.
I want to bring it from the other side.
Okay.
How many of your customers are actually reading magazines against how many of your customers are reading Facebook and online?
I don't know.
And this is what you need to know. What you need to know is how many of my customers are in magazines and paperback, and how many of my customers are in online life. Because we have to be careful here. Here we have this is the online tools. Okay? So how many of your customers are online? If your customers are entrepreneurs, are young generations, are business
They're going to
oriented
be
people,
online.
they will always have so many offers online. If your customers are buying through Amazon, so if you go back and ask your customers, where did you buy this clothes? Where did you buy this dress? Where did you buy your laptop?
Anyone under or in the 30s and under are online.
Okay? And if anyone will tell you, oh, my son bought it for me from Amazon, you have to understand that my son need to be targeted online. Full stop.
Yeah, not her.
Not her.
Yeah.
If somebody will come and say, yeah, we bought this from Sears, which is shut down, or we bought this from the Bay, or I got this from garage sale, or I got this from classical approaches, you know that these people's habit is not to trust the online.
What I find is people aged 60 and over are not online as much as those that are into their 30s and early 40s. And then there's an area
of
in
overlap.
between, an overlap.
And for everything, there is an odd. So the question is, how can I make a decision? When we talk about everybody 60 plus is not online, or they don't trust online, we means 80%, because there is always the 20% odd people.
Right.
So when we say everybody above 80,
The majority. Yeah.
this is our 80%.
Yeah.
It's not everybody, does not mean 100%.
No.
Does not mean every single individual.
Yeah.
So the question goes back to you is, if you remember the demographic we did for the customers, where they hang around, what materials they read, what books they read. If you hand your customers books and you tell them read this book, and they don't ask for the ebook version and they read the physical book, this is a strong indication that these people are paper-based,
Yes.
are not online-based. No matter if they sit in front of you and reply to their emails. If your customers don't open your email within 2 minutes or 5 minutes or within a day, you know they are not online as much.
Okay, so that
So
tells
this
me
is-
that the majority of the people, we get about a 13% open rate out of 1,700 people.
And don't trust the open rate that much, but this is just
Yeah.
indications.
Yeah.
So I know for people who are supporting businesses right now, every single business has a web service, a website somehow.
Yeah.
Like more than 80% of businesses, they must have a website. Majority of the businesses, they have online directories. So if I provide a service as a business coach or a trainer for businesses, I will recommend to have a considerable or a serious look to an online strategy, maybe with or without a classical approach. Okay? If you are in the business of young generation,
It's
if you want to target their parent and grandparent, it will be paper. If you want to target them, it will be online.
right.
So the decision which one you do online and which one you do paper, it has to come back from the current customer base you have.
Right.
So I have to ask a question. How old, and you can write this on your notes. You can write this. So the first question is, we can come back to this one just. So the first question is, who is my paid customer? I don't care about people who come for free.
Yeah, well, they're not paying.
I don't care about people like me, very interested to explore the unknowns, and I would like to come for one session because I can pay for one session, but I'm not a customer. So the question is, people who bought your service before, or bought similar service, who are they? Are they female or male?
Female,
Or
other. Majority of them are female or other.
yeah, so I do lots of business here. I do
Yeah.
more than 40% of my business
Yeah.
in this area.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you are in this area, female or male, or some people will come and say, you know what, it's not enough. We may have also couple. So are you selling to the couple? Why do you sell in a couple? So in a personal business, in a small business, will you talk about your business service to the husband and the wife because both of them have stake inside the business? If you are in the promotion of travel, are you talking to the couple?
Yes.
Or so this will be female,
Yeah.
this will be male, this will be the LGTB,
Uh-huh.
and you can also consider having the family.
Right.
So if I'm promoting services, I may consider selling to the family. I may consider, if I'm promoting business services, how often you have to talk to the couple. So Mike, how often you have to talk to the couple? Or you are busy?
No, I'm just trying to.
How often you have to, how often in your business you have to sell the husband and the wife because this is both are the business owners?
How often do I have to sell? Probably about 10-15% of the time.
Okay, so 10-15% of the business comes from the couple. So the couple may have a different strategy. That when they come in, I may have a gift for them. When they come in, I may have, I actually need a washroom for male and a washroom for female in my office. The language and the information, we'll talk about this. The question started is, who is my paid customers? Are there family, females, males, couples, or others?
Okay, so the majority of our customers
Yep.
are females or other.
So how percentage can it be? Like
70% female, 30% other.
so I just gonna make it 65
Okay.
because we are male and we are your customer as well. Sorry.
Out of a class of 30, there were 2 males.
Okay, so out of class of 30, there are 2 males. This means roughly 6-7%.
Yeah.
So when you speak to other though, who are you speaking to? Because normally there's a dominant gender in the other.
Yes,
Right,
but
whether-
one of the biggest problem,
So how do you identify with that?
one of the biggest problem is the others. You cannot use
A gender.
common language like Kevin, if he's here, he will always say, "Yeah, man, that's good, man. Yeah, brah." That's right.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Bro, brothers, and stuff like that. So it's bro here, but in Texas it's bra because it's brother, not brother, it's brother. So this kind of slangs or dialect are not allowed in this community. So when I sit around the table, it's a good brother. I say, no, I'm a transgender. I'm a female now. I had here in this room, somebody stand and said, I'm not continuing this meeting. There are 7 times I've been told, men, I'm a transgender, I'm a female now.
Yeah.
And he left. It's not me, it was people around the table and they offended him.
Yeah.
That's why I had this post, like if you hang around me with this particular group, you have to be careful watching your language. The problem of watching your language with them, they will feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to come naturally that you don't have this identity or identification in your standard dialogue. These people are so much feeler, they are in so many help because they are not appreciated so many places. As we know, we cannot say this in public way. However, these people, they need lots of help. So working with them and helping them to promote their business and their identity and whatever they believe in it is not bad. But you have to have the right language for them.
Because I've had clients that are 2 guys, I've had clients that are 2 girls.
But you never tell them, you never tell them, you have to, do you use a careful or a special lens to watch your language through communication?
I don't use a special lens because I think I exude respect in all aspects. So that doesn't enter the equation.
That's good. If
Yeah.
if you're language, but you know Kevin, and you'll have to, because you know Kevin.
Yeah.
So when he talks and say, yes man, let's do it man, and it comes from him naturally.
Yeah.
But if he sit here and one of these people are around, and they say, let's do it man, let's do it right now man, yeah, this guy will be completely off.
Yeah.
He will be offended.
Yeah.
So that is why when you talk about who is my customer, the first things we need to know is who are they. Some of the other questions is their age bracket, what age they are. Where do they live? So can you put under each one of this category, like I can say, some of you may have 15% for couple. Can you basically figure out some percentage in your own notes? And under this percentage, you can have other colors if you like. Under this percentage, figure out what is the age bracket. So what is the age bracket these people will belong? And the age bracket is very critical, because if they are more into the seniority level, they have so many problems. One of them is they have a visual limitation. So I cannot present a 10-point font flyers in front of them.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, 12-point on everything.
12 point is not enough for somebody 75 years old.
Yeah.
Okay? And where do they live? So where do they live? Where they live is very critical question for so many reasons. If I go to people who live in luxury neighborhoods, most likely these people are looking for themselves. Are they interested in so much details? Most likely is not. Most likely they look only for credibility and very brief messages. If I will go for an area where people are hard workers starting families in small houses, do they have an extra disposable income to buy my service?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So where do they live? It has an indication about how much effort you can do to convince them and what are the real barrier. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you are doing, and I know here we don't discriminate anybody, but we have to talk about this very carefully. What is the religion? It's another factor. If you are selling a healing or a alternative medicine solutions, because there are some religions
Yes.
will foresee modality healing without they are true or not or against whatever. I'm not hearing these discussions. For some particular businesses, let's take it from the other angle. When I did some work for one of the university, for Ambrose University here, we did work for social cautious projects to distribute and raise money for Bible distributions. So people who will talk to in this area will be what? When I work with this lady on finding hope, and majority of her workshops were run in the church, she is after who?
Others that are seeking that same.
In this religion,
Yeah.
in this church.
Yeah.
So it was very important for us to go, which is a New Hope church, or it's Angelical church, or it's Baptist church. It was very interesting discussions
Yeah.
because they have controversy and they have disagreement on few things she say. So she has to take some stuff out of her material. So you may be in a business where you want to understand what kind of level of religion involvement of your customers in. If you are in this business, you consider this. So if you want to talk about religious or not, you have to understand how often they go to practice. So this is not here to discriminate anybody, but this is my customers. My customers who come and donate money for this Finding Hope project, they are always the people who will go to the church almost 60 week in the 52 weekend years. They will go for
Every day.
every
Sunday,
weekend,
yeah.
every Sunday. You know they say if he's not in the church, he's in the hostel or he's dead. That's right. So this is a project I did with somebody where this is our target. So we don't really care. We basically go to specific area and say, okay, who are here every week? So we got the list of everybody who was there every week. She made the phone call. They sign up for her workshop. Not everybody here like this. So where religion, and then you should also talk about their marital status. So some of the people works on self-esteem and boosting esteem. They look at divorcee. They look at people in people who are looking for to sell wedding and bridal services and education. They look at people who are either single or in a relationship before marriage. That's right. People who are looking for business and long-term in business stability, they usually look for people either single or married because they want people to be stable. That's right. People getting through the roller coaster in their life, they don't provide a stable contract for years because themselves they don't know. Do you agree?
Mm.
So you should go in your list, and if this is relevant, you should be able to. The other thing, you should be able to mark it down. The other thing is, do they have kids? Do you do business with people having kids? Why is this important? Because if they have kids, where your flyers will be or could be, where can you meet them? One of the realtors, which is very famous story, he was a realtor and he will always have a free daycare or a complimentary daycare for the parent to go to see his houses. So he works in a demographic where small families are now becoming bigger and they want to move to another house. This usually the kids will be between 3 to 5 years old, because at 3 to 5 years old they need to have a bigger backyard and so many other amenity in the house. So he defines this as his demographic. So he will always have complementary babysitting, so the parent can have enough time to discuss the deal. It's brilliant on his side to do such a thing. However, this is one of the areas we want to do. There is also some aspect of habits. So you should understand what are the habits of your customers. Do they read? What newspaper they read, if they read newspaper? How often they are online? What movies they like to watch? Do they have hobbies? And when you understand this, just to show you how to use it, if people are in your demographic, they love to go to nature, where is your retreat will be? Your retreat will be.
Nature.
Okay, but if your demographic are individuals who don't go on nature, they are always like to go to a classy or a very well organized urban kind of sightseeing, like hotels, 5 stars hotels and 4 stars hotels, where your retreat will be downtown, will be in a 5 stars hotel.
Yeah.
If you are working with blue collars, starting workers, you will just make it in 3 stars hotels, because these workers, they cannot get to that is not in their daily life to go to the Hilton, Sheraton brands. Unfortunately, we have, so community centers for them will be more than acceptable. Okay, it's not nothing wrong about them.
No.
It's just their habit. They feel comfort. When I want to get people in, they have to feel comfort. They don't have to be, wow, I am in this location now. Okay? One of the interesting situation, I was in an event the other day, and this lady was selling refugees. And she was
Selling what?
She was the new refugees in Canada. She was selling them services.
Oh, okay.
And what's her giveaway?
She was putting them
He said selling refugees. I go, oh, I'll take 2.
So what's her offer was? Her offer was the promotion, the bonus was actually a couple of cruises and the getaway in Caribbean.
She was selling cruises to refugees.
No, she was selling services, and she will give bonuses of the cruises cruises on Disney and different cruises
to the people selling them.
to the people buying.
Oh.
She will give them a bonus when they achieve a specific level of purchase. They give. So when I looked at this, I just it didn't make sense to me.
No.
Are they even allowed to leave the country?
No. Yeah.
And no. Hold on. By the end of the question and the answer sessions, there was questions like, when I will get this cruise, does it come in my name or I can give it to somebody else? I'm allowed to sell the tickets for the Caribbean event or not? How much is the cruise worth? Can I sell it at a lower price? These are the questions came from the audience. Because none of these audiences are
Interested in that.
interested, and they don't believe that they can leave Canada.
Well, they can.
I don't know they can or cannot, but it's like one example of how some very professional sales. She like, I love her pitches, very professional one, and she fall into the crack. The company who sold her or sent her over did not consider that. So when you talk to this demographic, you cannot. This is not for them bonus. This is actually something harming them. So it's very important to understand your customers' hobbies.
Right.
So do they go to the library? If they are 70, 80 years old or 60 years old, most likely they will read books. Most likely they will do this, they will do that. If they are younger generations, they are doing something different.
Yeah, they're grabbing their Starbucks and. Right?
Okay?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So can you scramble some information about these categories in your paper? And the question will be, if you don't know this, how can you
find it?
How you find it? How do you find this information?
What I found with the religion that you talk about there is that there is a huge variety of demographics in that there are, in our customer base, a lot of people who were in a dogma or a religion of some kind and then have lost faith in that and have come looking for something else. And that's where we run into a problem, because Dr. Dosich likes to use the word God, and they don't relate to that, and it offends them.
Yep.
And quite often they'll say, well, wait a minute here. And I say to him, and he goes, well, that's who I am. And I go, I know that's who you are, but it's good to acknowledge who they are. And for the purpose of this meeting, you adapt yourself to be in coherence with those that are there.
And I love this example. I couldn't have the courage to say this example, but I love this example. Because this example is no different than the others.
Yeah.
Okay? So if I want to build on this example, if I am in a business, I give you a different scenario as well. If I am in a business of healing or treating or self-esteem for single parents or divorcee or whatever, I cannot use the word family.
No.
Because if somebody is a single mom and she has trouble in her life and she wants to be coached or helped as a personal coach, you cannot use the word family because she doesn't feel she has a family.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's her and the kids, it might be that's her family.
She doesn't recognize them as a family.
Really?
Yes.
They were, as a single mom for many, many years, my children were my responsibility,
Okay.
Not your family.
not my family. They were my responsibility.
So this is our very little subtle words you can use. It can make you lose a deal because you are using this. So God and religion is one of the other serious part, because if you stand on the stage in front of believers and people are on losing faith, people are faithful, if you can call it, what you will say? You'll say it's a superpower, it's a universe, it's God, it's what? So you have to understand that when you say this word, like when I said in an event, a family event or a society event of my society, and I can use the word universe, I will be attacked. Because majority of them believes in God.
Right.
Away from are they really practice or they have faith or not is a different story.
Right.
So I always make a blunt statement, say, you know what, it's a superpower, it's the universe, it's God, whatever you call it. Some people will call me out, why don't call it Allah, which is God in Arabic.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like I always say, like, you know what, I'm not here to convert you or do anything with your belief. We sell belief systems, by the way. We don't sell beliefs. Belief systems means a way to live.
Right.
Beliefs is what you believe in it. So if I'm in a belief system, which means practice and applying of tools, I don't care. You believe in God or superpower or universe. So I always make it clear. I say, like, you know, people usually come and say, is it God? Is it really superpower? Is it universe? It's up to what you believe in it. At the end of the day, it's a force.
It's between you and
Whatever you
yeah.
believe in it. It's at the end of the day is a force which is superior to us. You don't really understand, and you want to bring it to your side. And you want to live happy with it. That's it. I always terminate it in this way. You can also recommend it to that you find your termination. If you are in this business, if you are on the business side, quite often you don't get into these discussions. You can terminate. Okay, I'm here to do your bookkeeping. I'm here to do your accounting. I'm here to do your operational. I don't get into these discussions. It's your own decision. Okay? So I appreciate the example you bring in because this example is true. I see it all personal coaches, they have this particular question, is how you deal with this particular superpower. And same thing when you deal with like readings and trout and different set of readings and angels. Okay, so there are people for this particular modality and this particular businesses. They believe in it. They are dominant in our market. And there are people who don't believe in it. So we don't offend people who don't believe in it. And okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is our the second thing about the hobbies is you should be specific. So if somebody will be online, you can always ask how long, what you do online. Okay? So are your customers online? How do you find out this? You can find them in two ways.
Well, asking them, for one.
Why you can ask them?
Pardon me?
Why can you ask them?
Why?
Yeah? Because they are your customer. These are customers who are paying you money.
Yeah.
It means they are in your service. It means you have reached to them. You can talk to them.
Yes.
You can call them. You can have a meeting. Suddenly, in the coffee break or whatever break, say, "Oh, by the way, did you see this on Facebook?"
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't have a Facebook account." Okay, I mark it down. He doesn't have a Facebook account. That's good. The immediate question will be what?
And you could ask them too, right? When you've got a group of people there or an audience, you could say, just out of curiosity's sake, how many of you use the internet?
I want to come to this particular question.
I go Facebook or LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I want to get to this particular question. But I want to just before discussing this particular question, you can ask your customer, and is it legitimate or not? I want to just mention one thing. This information, if you want to collect it from your customers, you have to remember that our customers are relationship, our time, our process, and the fourth class is
Money.
money or value. And I'm putting them with the color for a reason.
Right.
Okay? So these are the four types of our customers. That's right?
Right.
Let's pick up the example of a healer. A
Right.
healer, majority of the customers for the healers will be what?
Heart.
Will be heart or will be relationship people.
Mm-hmm.
Do relationship like to be interrogated?
No.
Okay? So when you ask these questions, it cannot be seen as interrogation. It must be intelligence. So it comes in a non-formal way of not doing an interview. Okay? However, if you are selling business services and you have an intake form, you can have some of these questions on your side, your intake form. Okay? So if you have intake form for information, you can always say, I would like to 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like to know how to communicate with you. Do you like to communicate through Facebook? And you don't say select one of the following. You say rank them in the way and put no for what you don't have. If you are allowed to put a questionnaire. Does it make sense?
Yes. There's a way of writing that. I know. I've just. Yeah.
Okay?
So the majority of people who are, I would say, are 50-50 single or in a relationship or divorced. Like it's such a wide spectrum.
It cannot be out spectrum. It has to be, at the end of this practice, we have to find what we call it an avatar. So this is the avatar. It's an example of a name, and some marketer will say you give it a name. So you can have Sam, you can have Sue,
Right.
you can have Vicky, you can have Victor. Each one of this avatar is described by an age, not an age bracket. Each one of this avatar will be described by specific hobbies. And they put these we can put these different avatars in and then talk about the strategies which will fit each one of them. If some of the strategies will be comparable, we will basically say, yeah, I know, these two avatars can be targeted in one material.
Okay. Wow.
So we are not asking for an age bracket. We are asking for an age. It's a 45 years old and 12 months. Or 45 years old and 8 months. And 2 days and 4 hours. don't be that specific, but this is
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
you know, but this is how specific can it be. Like, if I am selling circumcisions and I am selling first 2 months or first 2 weeks services for babies, I'm specific.
Very specific.
I
yeah.
wanna reach out the mom immediately after
Or
delivery.
even just before.
And immediately, just before, like within the week before delivery and within the first week after delivery. Who is in this business?
Midwives.
There is a very simple. Who else? There's a very simple business here. Who else?
Caregivers.
Who else?
Nurses, home visitors.
Who else?
Uh,
Photographers.
Oh yes. Yes.
So a photographer who do baby photography
Yes.
would love to reach the expecting mom 1 or 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. Or 3 weeks, because within the first 1 or 2 weeks, usually they are excited and they want to get for the healthy baby out, they want to get a family photo.
Yes.
So photographers will be the one who will come and say, we would love to be in front of our customers, our clients or audience in the very first day immediately after delivery.
Right.
So these are the people who need to have an accurate.
Right.
And if they are there 2 months later, it doesn't matter because somebody else took the business.
Right.
So being exact, it's important, and photographers are very simple. If they are baby photography, they need to be within 1 week of delivery, within 2 weeks of delivery, within this particular demographic.
Right.
Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you must have an avatar, and the avatar has to be specific so you can talk to. So I know Mike has avatars because I know Mike did this similar work in different contests with somebody else. But do you have avatar for your?
No, I have never. I have never looked at that before. I mean, I can tell you the areas of where everyone breaks down into, but I've never done it like that before.
So it's important because picture your ideal client. What does your ideal client look like? Right? And then it helps you target who are they?
Mm-hmm.
Are they married? Are they single? Where do they hang out? Do they go to network meetings, or would you find them on the golf course?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you find them in the library? Or would you find them at a women's community center?
Right. So, like holistic fairs and all that kind of stuff is where we find a lot of people.
But where do they go? Like, I mean,
And
those
they'll
are
go to
events that they go to?
Yeah.
What do they do on a day-to-day basis? Because that's where you're going to have to find them, right? To get them to the fairs or whatever.
Right.
So who are those people? What's their economic structure? Are they housewives or are they usually business professionals?
Right.
Right? And then once you usually paint that and once you have all those things, and usually you probably have one of those clients already, and you just kind of extract them and say, okay, I know so much about this person, now you want to talk to that person. Because there's going to be 100 other people just like her that you want to speak to. And by speaking her language and identifying with her, and she's probably your biggest fan and raving fan right now,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're going to attract and you're going to speak to all those other 100 people the same way.
Yeah. And I do. I have like 5 or 6 people off the top of my head as soon as you said that
So pick
that are
one.
different, right?
Pick one,
Right.
and then write down all the characteristics to them, and then you're going to speak to them a certain way.
Yep. And you give it a name. Like the point here is, if you give it Victor, Sam, Sue, Vicky, if you give it an acronym or a name for this avatar, you immediately know now in your business, when I say this avatar, it means what. At the end of the day, what I love what Mike said, because it's actually the truth of this business. If I have one message to one specific individual, if I deliver this message to a specific individual, he will join my service. I just need to have one message, one individual, one meeting. That's it.
Right.
So the point I want to also elaborate on here, when we talk about ages, we have to talk about specific age. So I am going to babies who are 2 weeks old to take photos of them.
Right.
I will convert also people around this age bracket, but my message always is customized around 2 weeks old babies. My photos in my flyers will be what?
2-week-old babies.
All the extra drawings I put around the flyers will be what? Will be for
Families with young children,
with 2 weeks
two-week-old babies.
babies. So, like, I will maybe have a Suzer. I may not even have like a walking cart or whatever,
Or
because
a bottle or something.
yeah. So this is where it comes. The point which we never talk about it here is, who is here delivering a service that nobody else is delivering? Are we delivering service that nobody else is delivering?
Yes.
No. No. If anybody will say yes, you don't understand the market. We are not delivering unique service, because if I am delivering a unique service, it means service of no need. Because if I'm coming with a brand new service that nobody else did it before, solution for a problem which is nobody solved it before, I'm doing what?
You're breaking ground.
No, I'm not solving a real problem. I am making up the problem. Human solved all of their problems in a different way. So every problem we are solving, there is an alternative solution for. And you have to agree this is a ground discussion first. Every problem we solved, somebody else out there having a solution for. And I will come with the electrical grinder. So how many of us has a food processor or a grinder of a sort in their house, electrical?
Yeah.
What is the solution, alternative solution for electrical grinder?
A manual grinder.
And what is the other solutions? It can be done with a knife. It can be done between two rocks.
Right.
It can be done by my hand.
I see. Okay.
It can be
yeah.
done by my hand, which will harm my hand. I may not have the same results. It doesn't matter. I can do it with a hammer. Like, I can grind coffee with a hammer. So the fundamental business premises is, we are not solving problems that there is no solutions for elsewhere.
So it's along the same lines as Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone at the same time someone else did, but he got the patent in before they did, and so he got the acknowledgement.
Before the telephone
right?
and being invented, how people were communicating?
They were mail. They were Pony Express. They were,
There was also some fire signs.
Yeah.
There was some flag.
Telegraph and
Before the telegraph.
yeah.
There was drums.
Yeah.
There was sign flags.
Yeah. Yeah.
They still use them in marine right
Yeah.
now. That's right.
Yeah.
On ships, they use
So
flags.
Yeah.
when you approach a problem and you say, I have a brand new solution, yeah,
You turn people
you
off.
may have a brand new solution, but this problem is solved elsewhere in a different way.
Right.
We have to agree on that.
I got it. No, I get it.
So I have a problem with healing. I'm very frustrated. I don't know what to do. So what is my first problem? Solution is do nothing. It's do nothing. Being depressed for some time, and eventually either the depression will go away or something will happen.
Right.
The other solution is, I may seek music. I may talk to my family. There are so many solutions. So the question will be, if you agree on these premises, which is what you do is a intelligent or clever or
It's
a better
tool to add to someone else's toolkit to help them to move forward in what they're doing.
but they can move forward without your tool in a different way, less efficient, less. Okay, I want you to 100% agree on that.
Okay.
Because the question now will be, if I want to look at who are my customers, we have to understand what alternative they bought and how did they buy it in the past.
Okay. And I can answer that.
So, a good example for healing work. Oh, sorry. Let's just start from business side. A good example for business side. If I'm selling business training or bookkeeping or combination of bookkeeping and accounting services, the question stand here and say, did they buy before an accounting services? If the answer is yes, can you ask them how did they buy it? And the third question for quality control, why are they looking for you? This is an extra question. So if you are doing healing work or training or coaching for healing, what other healing approach techniques your customers bought before they come to your service?
So I could use myself as an example. Was I became a Reiki master and I felt that I wasn't getting enough out of it, so I started looking for other things.
Which is awesome. So are your next audience, I don't want to use you as example because you'll be biased. Because that's you. It's this the reality, that's right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why, like, as I'm telling you, like, I cannot do my marketing material. I have to get somebody else. Because I'm biased to whatever my brain is.
Right.
So I need to see the influence. That's why sometimes I grab some of you or few of you and say, okay, can you help me developing this? Mm-hmm. Can you read this? Because we are a community at the end of the day. So if you are customer who unsatisfied with Reiki,
Yes.
so your audience here will be what?
Reiki people.
Reiki graduate.
Mm-hmm. That are not satisfied with their Reiki.
Satisfied or not satisfied is a different question. But so your audience here are where the Reiki people hang around. So what the people in Reiki reads, what the people in Reiki hang, what social media people in Reiki connect to, where they go,
Mm-hmm.
what consortiums they attend, what the groups they are part of.
Yeah. So, okay, and then I can take it one step further in that then I started to study with a shaman. And I did that. And then I went into coaching and I did that and it still wasn't enough. And so then I found
So
what I'm doing now.
each one of these is one
Of those.
is one avatar.
Right.
So there is an avatar who went to Reiki, an avatar who went to Sharma, an avatar who went to Healing Touch, for example, an avatar who went to,
Right.
and if there are different age brackets for this avatar, it will split to more avatars. But this is the reality of this exercise. It may be too much. It's maybe you see it as overwhelming. It's not overwhelming. What needs to be done here, we are learning this because we wanna grab a specific language to better fit this avatar. And we are learning this to pick up 1 or 2 or 3 avatars to focus on marketing for them to make the best outcome of it. So for example, you dealt with yoga.
Scattered, but to be focused.
Focused. 80% should come from this focus. 20% will come from the scatter. They will come anyway.
Right.
So when you talk about the yoga practitioners is one of these. If you sell to yoga owners, yoga studio owners,
A different
this will
avatar.
be different because their interest is different. So everything we talk about products and benefits and features and all kind of different material, it has to be customized to this particular. So for example, the benefit for a yoga studio owner is what? Is to increase the quality of his own employees.
Right.
However, the message to the yoga practitioners is a new skill you will learn, so you can charge more and maybe look for a different yoga studio.
More in line with your beliefs.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is where, when we have this discussion, and this is why I'm sharing this, because I would like you to take a chance to it, because we are looking to answer one question: should we market online or in events or in communities or in newsletter or on paper?
I think that they all have their niche,
It's based on these avatars.
but depending on, yes,
It's based on these avatars.
yeah.
So can you take like few seconds and just scramble, if you can know what other services your customers bought? And how did they buy it?
Sorry, what are you asking?
What alternative services of yours, your customer, your current customer, bought before coming to you?
Bought before coming to me.
Yes. Like, did they bought before bookkeeping and accounting?
From somewhere else, probably.
How did they buy it and why they buy it? Somebody will come and say, yeah, because I was in this particular network group and
Yeah.
there was this accountant. Somebody will say, no, I went to the Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
and I had this accountant. Somebody will come and say something different. So each one of those will be, you can understand where to target your new audience based on this information.
Why did they jump ship?
Why the jump ship? It gives you an affirmation or a confirmation that your benefits can be articulated in a better way.
Right.
Because we have benefits, that's right. Like one of the testimonials I have, that's I have encyclopedic knowledge to share with my client in a marketing and because this is a communication and marketing area, because this was a project I did for this gal. So this is what he's telling me. It's empowered me, it put me on a fire. Now when I go and hear from you today, you said you share a different set of knowledge which is really helpful. It affirmed what he said. So I feel I have a knowledge which is positioned in a way different.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no shame of putting it now. I have no hesitation of putting it out right now. So when you ask why did they switch or what's missing, it will help you in your marketing understanding, marketing material, which say this is what you will miss if you do the other modality. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So coming back to the actual topic, which word of mouth, classical way, which is newspapers or
Flyers, magazines,
Or flyers.
billboards, yeah.
yeah, or maybe radio.
Yes, radio.
Like I was exposed to a radio advertisement, and I did it to support the gal at the time. However, like, is my customers are on radio listeners.
And that, you know, we have the radio show that Richard wants to do, and I say to him, I don't see that pulling more people in, except that you can share your knowledge.
So the question, are you getting your radio because you are pulling people in, or are you getting your radio for credibility that you have a radio?
Yeah, I think it's more for credibility.
So if it's for credibility, I will keep doing it, but I know it will not bring people from here.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Now, what we do online, so what we do online,
Again, in credibility
so
and bringing people in.
so what are the venues online? What is the most important venue for your material online?
I think face-to-face online, so many either Instagram or Facebook.
So let me just pick up a bigger sheet, because online is a trend which is we have to understand.
Yes,
So you have here
social sharing and
the online.
yeah.
So the online. So what kind of platforms you said? You mentioned Facebook. You mentioned Instagram.
Instagram, LinkedIn.
You mentioned LinkedIn. What else?
Google.
G plus.
Yeah.
You have YouTube.
Yep.
What's the fundamental problem of all of this?
Not everybody uses all of them.
There is a fundamental problem other than that.
You have to have accounts.
Nope. There's a fundamental problem. Who owns these platforms?
Someone else.
Yes. Someone else. What will happen to me if I use someone else's platform? I am under the burden of their own terms and
Rules
conditions.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So what is the very first, if you plan to do online, what is the very first things you need to have online? You must have a website. And this website, in a good day, shall act as the feeder for all of this. So I will share with you a problem happened to me with one of these techniques which called Twitter.
Oh yeah, I've got Twitter on there too. Yeah.
So with Twitter, there was a very fun tool to use, which I bought a subscription for, called TweetAdders. And TweetAdders was an awesome tool early in the 2010, 2011. You know about it? So TweetAdders will be a way that you can sign so many Twitters accounts, and the tool itself will go and analyze your followers, and it will promote you and send you messages to gain more followers. And it worked. This tool was very interesting because it can completely analyze, and then it can send private messages to everybody in your followers and the followers of your followers, because everybody on Twitter acts with their own accounts.
Right.
So I can send a very customizable message to the followers of my followers to follow me, and the followers of my followers of my followers to follow me. And what happened to this tool around 2012 or late 2011 is it changed the policy, and the TweetAdders have been removed
Right.
from the market, and they are doing something. They did something after this with
Facebook.
not with Facebook. I believe that it was like with Instagram or with another package. And so I bought the pro subscription to it. It was an awesome tool. It was
Now
amazing.
you can't use it.
The Twitter decided that this tool is actually spamming and overhead on their server, so they terminate the authorization for their plugin to connect to the Twitter accounts overnight. This was, I believe, this November, December 2011 or so. So what happened to me now?
You lost.
I have to go to find alternative. There is no single alternative tool till today was like TweetAdder, like Tweeten and all of these tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to deal with a location where 60% of the young generation are available on Twitter of the whole nation. It's the largest percentage of a nation subscribing to Twitter worldwide. So for me, this was amazing tool. I program everything. You have this multi accounts. You basically send the messages. They are very customizable messages. You can actually ask the tool to increase your followers, and the tool will go communicate with your followers on their own, and your followers will follow you back. Like imagine automatically you can produce something like, "Hi there," and you put the ad and their name. "Please follow me," and they click follow. So it was an amazing tool, but it was subscribed. So the biggest challenge you have with all of these tools and platforms is what? They can change the policy. For example, YouTube used to be open, and now you must have, I believe, 400 followers and about 1,000 watch hours to have your own channel and to have monetization on it.
Yes.
So suddenly they did this change.
Now it's 100,000, I think.
I don't know. So point I want to make is, if you plan to have something online, what you need,
Your website.
this is fundamental tool. There are so many business coaches around. They say, "Oh, you don't need you don't need to have website. You can just have a Facebook business page, and you can have all this." This is very interesting. What's happening to LinkedIn after the Microsoft acquisition to LinkedIn? That LinkedIn groups and businesses pages are not seen anymore. Do you know that? Like, if you are doing stuff on LinkedIn, it's not tricky. It's very tricky now to go back to the groups. What happened lately to Facebook is we start to see less business pages coming to our group, to our timeline. Less and less business pages.
Unless you pay for advertising.
Unless you pay for advertisement.
Yeah.
So if you have a content, if you have blogs, if you have content, you should consider having it on.
Your website.
And then what you do from your website,
Send it out.
you should a tool to send it out.
Yeah. And that's what I do use.
Okay?
I use a tool, but it's not directly, the tool isn't directly attached to the website. I have to copy and paste the link, and then...
There are so many ways to do
yeah.
the same thing, right? Remember, we are not doing solutions, nobody else solves it. We solve problem which is people are looking for solution for.
I just want it easier.
Okay, so the question comes to you back here. The questions come to you back here. Based on the structure of your customers, how many do you believe they need to see you? Oh, and also, there is also the in-person, before we forgot. So where can I see the in-person? I can see them in trade shows, networking meetings or events, that's right. Customized seminars, that's right. So, oh, and online we forgot few things, or not we forgot, we can add here podcast, we can add here webinar. Now the questions comes back to you, which one of those you want to use and based on your avatar, or what is the percentage, what's your gut feeling say right now among in-person, online, and the classical paper base?
So if I was to rate those, I would rate the best as being word of mouth, the second as being in person, the third as being online tools, and the fourth being paper and flyers.
And I completely disagree with you. For some. I'll explain to you why, but I hate to disagree with my customers, but I disagree with you on that, because I will explain to you why.
Sorry, what's your order again?
My order is word of mouth.
Okay.
Word of mouth is the best, yes, I agree on that.
Second is in person, 1-to-1. Third is online, and fourth is paper flyers.
You disagree with that?
Yes, and I'll explain it why, but I want to listen to you, Mike, first. Which ones do you believe for your business are the best ones? Away from word of mouth, okay? Because word of mouth,
agree with that one.
word of mouth is the best of the best conversion rate. So if you have a selection between classical paper approach and online approach, which one for your business will be more favorite?
Online.
Okay, so I agree with Mike. That's online will be the third best approach for
I
him.
have it as the third.
But for you, it's not.
Oh.
Okay? For you, it's not. And I will let you know why.
Okay.
So, in person, in trade shows for healers and service providers, practitioners, it has its own weight because people want to come, they want to see you.
Yes.
So, I agree between word of mouth and the in person. I'm not discussing this.
One
This
and
is
two. Yeah.
this is the top
Yeah.
approaches.
Well, they're the best approach for getting that warm audience and
Yeah.
getting rid of all of those channels
Yeah.
up at the top.
Yeah.
But really, for me, like if I have an office space, right?
Right.
Down by the IKEA. So for me to attract clients, two things I can do. I can go out and try to meet the heck out of everybody, or I can do an online presence and market really strongly online, and then they come to me.
Because
Right.
your clients are business oriented, and almost every single business you bring, they have at least one website. Every single owner you bring, he must have at least one active email where he sent more than 5 emails a day and reply to more than 5 emails a day. So your category, your avatar,
I see. Okay.
fundamentally,
Yeah.
you don't have Franklin. Franklin is my friend who owns, you know, Franklin's? When you go to, did you see Franklin's in the Calgary airport?
No,
I know Frank very well. He's my friend. He's from Salvador.
Frank.
Yeah, he owns Franklin Shoe Shine,
Okay.
exclusive in all the Calgary airport. All the Shoe Shine area. Frank does not have he doesn't have an email.
Okay.
So Frank from Franklin Shoe Shine
Shoe shine. Yeah.
is not your customer. That's right. Do you have a single customer who doesn't have an email? I'm not talking about the 80% rule, which is are 20% or less from your customer don't have an email. So your customers,
It's also a no.
I know, your customers are people who have businesses, and these businesses are promoted or are connecting. They do have a website, they do have an email, and they are using this technology. So reaching them online is no brainer.
Right.
Do you get this?
I get it.
And I love Frank now because I have now a new example. I just thought about this example today. I love Frank now because I have an example of a very successful
Business.
multi-millionaire guy. He runs a shoe business and some other businesses, and he does not have.
Email.
He just have a very old phone. He does not have a smartphone. He doesn't have a. You want to reach him? You call him up. I do have also some other customers who they don't have cell phones. Full stop. They only have landline.
Actually, I have two customers like that.
And we do have a lot of people who are not on the internet. They will not have anything to do with it because of the EMFs. They won't have anything to do with technology because of EMFs.
So if you have somebody who doesn't have to do anything of technology, and this is your customer, which
They
is much
They have to
easier,
be paper.
which is much
yeah.
easier to do what for your customers, to get similar to them. You ask your customer. Let's observe. Let's observe this scenario. You go to your customers, ask them for a word of mouth. The word of mouth will be for what? For similar tribes, for their tribes. So if my customer doesn't have a Facebook account, what is the likelihood of the tribe he will talk to will have a Facebook account?
They won't.
Very little.
Yeah.
That's right. If my customer is not online 80% of the time or 60% of the time, what is the likelihood of their tribe will be online 40% of the time? It's not there.
Yes.
That's why I said I disagree. I hate to disagree with people who pay me money. That's why I said I disagree with you, because you don't understand
Well,
the
but I
avatar,
understand. Yeah.
your avatars. If you are in business services, online must be a big consideration. But if you are working with people in prison, working with people in low esteem near to suicide, working with people they don't watch TV and media, and that's why they are
Well, even
depressed.
in rural areas.
If you work
yeah.
with rural area which they don't have a very strong internet,
Yeah.
if you work with farmers who they don't have any, like, I'm not trying to make it unique.
I get it.
I can bring so many multi-million-dollar businesses who sells to thousands of people who they don't have
Online presence.
because their customers are not online. So we have this discussion to answer one of your questions early on.
Yeah.
You said it was too much, $280. It was expensive to put an ad in a
should've gone.
holistic magazine. The question is, if you put an ad in the holistic magazine and you have one customer, will he pay much more than the investment?
Oh, totally.
Does this make sense to you?
Oh, it makes total sense to me. Makes total sense to me. We got a lot to talk about on the Tuesday coming up.
So I don't know where is your customers hang around, but what I know is I will be blessed. I will be blessed. I repeat this 3 times. I will be blessed if I can have a business where my customers are paper-based.
People-based. Yeah.
Why paper-based is important.
Yeah.
How many competition do you have online?
Oh, tons. Tons of competition.
That's right. So how many competition do you have in a paper-based?
Not as much.
That's right. So if you have a business which is paper-based driven, or your demographic, which is aging demographic, why do you need to be online? We can talk about that. Any questions? Now, one of the demographic questions we did not ask here is, one of these questions shall be, what is the influence to buy?
What do you mean by influence?
Who influence your customers to buy your service? Maybe you are not in this business, but in the business where I am selling to babies photos, and the babies has to be 2 weeks old, which is a very odd example, because I have to be accurate. I have to be like 2 weeks before delivery date, and within 2 weeks after delivery date, having my flyers inside. Who influence a photo session? It could be the grandma, the granddad. That's
Welcome
right.
Wagon was who hit me up when I had the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is in your time. I don't believe that he's still doing it now. Anyway, so some of our business for seniors are influenced by the youth generation, by their kids and grandkids.
Right.
And where the kids and the grandkids hang around, they hang online.
Right.
Okay?
So it has a place.
It has a place, but it's not the second priority, it's the fourth priority.
Yeah.
It has a place. People need to go online to verify your information. Shall I discount the paper-based?
No.
If I'm in this business, no.
No.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of cases it's more costly though.
We are not here yet to talk about what is the cost, because we will talk about the cost when we will look at some basics here, some basic information.
You want to break for lunch?
Yep. Any more questions? So if you have no more questions, we can stop here and then we can.
Copyright
Okay.
2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited. Unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent, all other rights reserved.